Hello, my beautiful mommies. I wanted to share the journey I went through around time management, how to manage my time, and how that shifted for me, especially coming from the business world into motherhood, kind of having more of the masculine structures, project management. I mean, that was my golden zone. I am in marketing and often serve as a project manager or a program manager. And so, I'm all about timelines, scoping things out, things like that. And it was great at the beginning to have that skill coming into motherhood. Because definitely, and I'll talk about this, kind of the first level of time management that I went through was more time based. And so those skills definitely helped me in the beginning, especially when I'm trying to figure out all of these new routines with the baby and kind of what my new normal was going to be. Let me start off with the three levels. So there's time based, activity based, and then energy based. And bear with me a little bit here. So, when it comes to time management and you're more at the time based level, time matters and the what matters. What is it? Feeding, sleeping, eating, all of the milestone markers. At the very beginning, the way I kind of mapped out my schedule was very much time based. I admit I went hour by hour. What does the baby need to do? How much time does that give me? What can I fill in? Very, very much time focused and time driven. Then, after I was able to kind of go through some cycles and learning this new routine, and not having to focus so much on the details, I later shifted into the second level, and that is time management that's more activity based. So for time based, the time matters and the what matters. In activity based, the what matters, but the time doesn't matter. It's less relevant. So knowing that the baby needs to eat so many times throughout the day, maybe I have now started to organize my week where I'm not doing laundry every single day, but I'm allocating certain days for laundry. I'm allocating certain days to do the dishes. And so I'm starting to spread things out. At this level, it doesn't matter when I do it necessarily, but just that I get it done. That way, I'm not getting overwhelmed and things are starting to pile up to a point where I feel like I can't catch up. Okay, so time based, activity based. Now we get into energy based, and this is more of the self management. So here we're looking at more, okay, what are the things that we need to do throughout the day? And what are things that give me energy versus what are some things that maybe I don't like as much and are draining energy? Or maybe where are some of the time leaks or, energy leaks, right? Like maybe I say that I'm wanting to get everything done and I want to make time to go meet up with friends, but then I start escaping to things like scrolling on Facebook, hopping on TV, watching too many Netflix shows. What are some things? And I have my notes here, so pardon me as I look at them real quick. Things where you can be self sabotaging yourself, not getting what you need in the day, right? Let alone getting things done. So, yes, this could be social media, like overdoing it, right? And I do believe that there's a time and place where, especially if you're not getting out of the house, connecting on Facebook and social media, there is a time for that. There's a time and a phase for the scroll. But then, we need to recognize there's not always a time for the need for the scroll. And there have been many times where I'm like, oh, I'm just going to hop on Facebook for 10 minutes. 45 minutes later, I'm still scrolling, right? Has that ever happened to you? I feel like a lot of moms that I talk to, we all say the same thing. So, again, when you're looking at time management from more of an energy based level, what are those things that are giving you energy and what are some things that are leaking energy? So let me Let me give you a couple more examples. Another example of escaping could be eating, right? And I fell into this very much. I eventually had to admit I was found myself comfort eating, especially when you're doing so much. Sometimes that's an easy way to reward yourself. And it's one thing to reward yourself first thing in the morning, you have a fun coffee, maybe once a week or something like that. But it's when you start to do it on a daily basis or multiple times a day, that's when it's gone from something that you're giving to yourself to where you're starting to self sabotage yourself. I was starting to self sabotage my energy and my health. So let's talk a little bit more on where are you splitting your energy. So be thinking about this in your day to day. So a couple of things I did was find ways to consolidate spaces, find ways to consolidate time. How can you align better? How can you streamline your processes? Any ways that you can restructure your home. So, ways that I could consolidate spaces, ways that I could consolidate time, pairing things that inspired me with things that I might not necessarily like doing. So, what are those little pockets of ways that I can continue to bring joy into my day? So, consolidating spaces. One thing that I was originally doing was I was starting with a weekly self care practice. And it's funny, I had all of the ingredients in probably three different places around my house at the beginning, right? Because, like let's say for a body scrub, sugar typically goes in the pantry, have the coconut oil in a specific area as well on a different level drawer. Then maybe oils I had in like near my bathroom, right? So again, something that I'm wanting to have in my day and in my week, I had things all spread out throughout the house. And so every week I was going to multiple places to, create it. And again, it's just like when I'm thrown into the new routine with the baby, I just didn't even stop to think, hey, what if I have like a little carrier that I can have in my bathroom or in my cabinet, and I have all of my self care products needed for the scrub in one place right next to my bathtub. That was a huge time saver, and not just a time saver, but an energy saver, because I was leaking energy going to all these different places. And then sometimes I just didn't even feel like doing it. I'm like, oh gosh, I've got to make the body scrub, which I love making this do it yourself body scrub. But sometimes I just didn't have the energy. And so then I'm like, it's too much work. I'm just gonna skip on it. And how does that help me, right? How do I find ways to make things easy? So that's an example of consolidating spaces, creating different spaces for yourself just to help kind of organize and have these pockets of organized places. You could create a fun space, a self care space that has everything in one area, workspace, a workout space. Have things that bring you joy in those spaces. So, second, consolidate time. Um, One thing that I found myself doing, and I've talked about this in other videos, is I would literally, it would be 4 o'clock and my partner was going to be home, in an hour or so. I remember walking by and just kind of being a robot almost, and just being on autopilot, and whatever happened throughout the day, not really having any kind of organized times or pockets to do things, that activity based schedule. I was just kind of going with the flow. Noticed I picked up a toy and I thought to myself, oh my gosh, this is the third time I've picked up this toy. This is crazy. I have picked up the same toy 3 times in one day. And I looked around the house and literally it was a mess. And at that point, though, I started to have tears swell up in my eyes because I thought, I do not have the energy to clean my house before my partner gets back. I've already been cleaning over and over and over, and I just don't have the energy. I just cannot pick up one more thing. And then I realized I need to find a way to do this better. And so one thing that I changed was, instead of picking up along the way and throughout the day, because I could pick up and then my child would take it out, right? And then I'd pick it up and then my child would easily throw it out. I came up with a thing for myself that I do not clean up the house throughout the day. I let it be fully messy. And at 4 o'clock, or an hour before my partner is supposed to be home, I am going to do a sweep of the house at the end of the day, but I am not going to touch the toys throughout the day. And it's just going to be messy. It's just going to be a mess. And I've just got to learn to live with the mess, because I also need to have the energy. So that was one example of consolidating time, right? I was spending so much time throughout the day, and really, like, I probably spent way more time picking up multiple times throughout the day, that I spent less time cleaning maybe 40 minutes at the end of the day than throughout the day. I probably spent like an hour and a half time cleaning and re-cleaning. So that helped me not only save on time, but also save on my energy. Maybe you're finding yourself cleaning a lot. One thing to ask is, do I have too much stuff? And I went through this process. I went through learning about minimalism. I watched the Marie Kondo shows, listened to her book. I also looked at other different videos, because I do like to get multiple people's perspectives before I start to do something, and just find out which way is going to vibe best with me. Again, I didn't do it perfectly, but one way I did help save on time was starting to get rid of stuff. And oh my gosh, I even went through my closet, and maybe I can find a picture that I can put up, where I brought all of my clothes from different closets and put it on the bed. And it was crazy and how much stuff I had. Look at things that you can let go of, but still have joy, right? And just keep those things that bring and add to your life versus take away. So the third thing, how to try to not split your energy, is pair things that inspire you with things that you might not necessarily like doing, but for the time being, there's stuff that you have to do right now. So for me, folding laundry and putting up the dishes was not at the top of my list. I loved listening to music, so sometimes I would be in a phase where I would listen to a playlist on Spotify while I would fold the laundry. Maybe I was in the phase where I was really wanting to learn how to do something new, and so I would listen to an audiobook while doing the dishes. Lighting a nice smelling candle. Let's say maybe, cleaning the kitchen isn't your favorite thing. Bringing in a candle that maybe smells like lemongrass or lavender. I mean, any scent that lights you up. And when you smell it, it gives you whatever you're needing. Do you need is it helpful for you to feel more relaxed? Is it helpful for you to feel more energized? Learn what different scents evoke different things. Find your favorite 1 to 2 go-tos. So these are all ways as a new mom, and how I graduated from time management that was more time-based. Then I shifted into activity-based. And then I shifted into energy-based, which was more of the self-management piece. I want to share is and ask, are there areas where you're leaking energy? Are there areas where you're escaping and you're finding that you're not doing something for just 10 minutes and it's an hour later? It's not only important to catch yourself, that's the self-aware piece, but it's important to start to reprogram yourself. Let me tell you something. One thing that I learned in the mom realm is that getting everything done and doing more doesn't make me healthier, doesn't make me happier, doesn't make me sexier, doesn't make me more prosperous, doesn't make me a better reciprocal of relationships when I'm drained. Especially if you're finding yourself feeling burnt out, really take time to look at your energy and where are you putting your energy and what are some areas that you can consolidate or bring joy in throughout your day. Structure your household, streamline processes, find ways to align better so that you can be more well rested, so you can be healthier, so you can feel happier, so you can be sexier, so you can be more prosperous. So we have worked so hard. We've gone to school, we've done education, we've, gone to college. We have gone into the business world. We have worked so hard to have this opportunity for motherhood. And it's just helpful to be aware that a lot of the practices and things that made sense for the business world doesn't necessarily translate or make sense or the outcome that you're looking for in the mother world. I'm wanting us just to find ways to find that energy, find ways to feel more vibrant, even if it's that cup of coffee or lighting a nice smelling candle. What are ways that you can bring joy now in your life? And for me, I found always doing more and always getting everything done. And to be honest, I never like that doesn't even exist. Getting everything done, the next morning, there's more things to do. And so, how can we manage where we're spending our time? How can we manage our energy? Definitely share any ideas that you've had, or, maybe you're at the level where you don't have to focus more on time and you're focused more on activity based. The Fly Girl Zone, I need to look at it. There's a link that I know I came across a while back when it talks about, kind of organizing your week. So I'll share that in the description below. I would love to hear from you. This community would love to hear from you. I love sharing ideas, helping us learn more and how to have a wonderful life and be the best version of ourselves. So I hope this was helpful for you, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.